Fix his mother's dwelling and allotment around him, which is the greatest and the best, and make him king over the rest. The other he made princes, and gave them power over many people, and large territories. And he named them all. The oldest, who was the first king, was called Atlas, and after him all the islands and seas were called Atlantic. Atlantic in ancient Greek means, island Atlas. Let us examine his story above in the words of Poseidon. The Sunda land continent is a continent that has 3 large islands as mentioned by the plateau, namely the island which now forms the islands of Sulawesi, Java, Sumatra and Kalimantan, which used to be one unit and one continent of Sahul, which is now as Australia, on the island of Poseidon is what Plato told, and today about that word still exists in Sundanese culture with the words Pasundan. Atlas itself, according to Plato's Critias text, is the king and the first son of the founder of Atlantis, Poseidon Pasundan. Note again about, on this mountain lived an ancient human born named Evenor, and he had a wife named Leucip, and they have only daughter who is called Cleito. There is a similarity in the name of the daughter of the Evenor marriage with Leucip, namely Cleito and Cheeto building. The similarity with the sacred Cheeto or Setha building is located in Duku Setha, Gumung village, Genoa district, Karanganyar Regency, Central Java province. It is said that the name Setha, which in Javanese means clear, is used as the name of the hamlet where the Setha building is located because from Setha hamlet people can clearly go in various directions. To the north there is a view of Karanganyar and Solo city against the backdrop of Mount Merbabu and Merapi, and, further afield, the summit of Mount Suming. To the west and east you can see green hills stretching out, while to the south you can see the back and children of Mount Lau. The Setha building is a group of buildings consisting of 11 terraces that stretch east-west. The first terrace is located on the east side, the higher it gets to the west. Each of the terraces is connected by a door and a walkway that seems to divide the patio courtyard into 2 sides. On the east side of the lowest terrace there is a gate which is the gate of the Setha building complex. In front of the gate there is a stone statue called the Nyai Gamong Aram statue. On the south side of the first terrace there is a building without walls that stands on a foundation about 2 meters high. Inside the building there is an arrangement. At the western end of the path that crosses the courtyard of the first terrace is a stone archway with stone steps. The stairs to the next terrace are flanked by a pair of statues of Nyai Agni. Only one of the 2 statues is still somewhat intact, that is, it still has a head. On the second terrace, there is a stone arrangement that spreads out in the courtyard, forming an image of an eagle flying with wings spread. On the back of the eagle there is a stone arrangement depicting a turtle. Right above the head of the eagle is a stone arrangement in the shape of a shining sun, isosceles triangle and kalachakra, male genitalia. At the end of each of the eagle wings are 2 other forms of the sun. Garuda is Vishnu's vehicle bird which symbolizes the world above, while the turtle, which is the incarnation of Vishnu, is a symbol of the underworld. Turtles are considered powerful animals capable of diving into the ocean to get water of life, Tirtha Amrita. The presence of Kalachakra on this page causes the Setha building to be called a Lanong, male temple. The sun shines 7, symbolizing the sun, which is believed to be the source of life force. The isosceles triangle represents the guide for a world sinking into a sea of darkness. In the center of the isosceles triangle is a circle containing 3 frogs, each facing a different angle. In each triangle there is a painting of a lizard. On the heavy line dividing the east side there is a crowned eel with a crab on the south side and Mimi, a type of sea animal, on the north side. The whole form is a picture of hope for fertility, both soil and human fertility. The triangle with the male genital shape at the top symbolizes the unity of woman and man, 2 beings that are opposite in nature but inseparable from each other, as a symbol of the small universe, microcosm, in humans. On the west side of the second terrace, each on the left and right of the stairs leading to the next terrace, you can see 2 rooms that only have the foundation left. The stairs leading to the next terrace are andesite stones, which are not neatly arranged. On the left and right of the stairs there are stone ruins that are not clear in their original form. The third terrace is a yard that is not too wide. As found on the previous terrace, on the west side of this terrace there are also a couple of rooms that flank the path leading to the stairs to a higher terrace. In the room there is a stone arrangement forming a rectangle stretching from north to south. On the stone walls, there are reliefs depicting people and animals. It is said that the relief is an excerpt from the Song of Sudamala. Relief with the theme Kidung Sudamala is also found in the Suku building. This relief reinforces the notion that the Setha building was built for ruwadan purposes. The stairs leading to the next terrace are made of andesite, which is very neatly arranged, made of terraces with a fairly wide landing at each level. The cliffs around and to the right of the stairs are supported by stacked stone sheet piles. No information was obtained whether this ladder was the result of a previous renovation or was an original ladder. On the inner, west, side of the fourth terrace, there are a pair of statues of Bhima guarding a stone staircase leading to the fifth terrace. The fifth terrace is a courtyard with a pair of roofed buildings, called the outer pendapa. The building without walls flanks the path leading to the stairs to the sixth terrace. On the west side of the sixth terrace, at the foot of the stairs, there is a Kalachakra statue and a pair of Ganesha statues. The stairs to the seventh terrace are also very neatly arranged and are made of 3 levels. The cliffs on the left and right of the stairs are reinforced with stone sheeting. At the top of the stairs is a gate which is the entrance to the seventh terrace, which is a courtyard surrounded by stone walls. Similar to the outer pavilion, on this terrace there is also a pair of roofed pendapa without walls. This terrace is called the Pendapa Dalam. On the west side of the inner hall, there are stairs leading to the next terrace. The eighth terrace is a room used for prayer. In front of the door of the room are 2 stone statues with writing. On the west side, at the back of the room, was a staircase leading to the ninth terrace. On the left and right of the west side of the ninth terrace there is a room facing east. The 2 rooms functioned as a storage area for ancient objects. On the east side, opposite each of the storage rooms were 2 buildings. The building on the north side contains the Sabdapalan statue and the south side contains the Nyagangong statue. Both of them were figures of Punakawan, caregivers and advisors of the kingdom, at that time. The west side of the ninth terrace is bordered by a stone wall that serves as a gate to enter a passage of stone steps leading to a room on the 10th terrace. On each side of this room there are 3 wooden buildings facing each other. In each building there is a statue. One of the rows of statues located in the north row is a statue. In the southern row, again, there is a Kalachakra statue. The western end of the south row is the storage area for Umpu Supa's heirloom. Umpu Supa was a well-known and respected Umpu, heirloom weapon maker, during his lifetime. The west side of the 10th terrace is bordered by a stone wall that serves as a gate to enter a stone staircase leading to the 11th terrace. At the top of the hall there is a stone wall about 1.60 meters high which divides the stairs from the main room, in the form of a roofless building surrounded by stone walls almost 2 meters high, with an area of about 5 square meters. This main room is located higher than all the other rooms, so that from this place can be seen clearly the spaces below. The main Setha building is located in the backyard and on the highest terrace facing the top of the mountain. This reflects the belief that the sacredness of the building is part of the natural surroundings. The architecture of the Setha building is based in the concept that the gods do not reside in the sky, but on the top of the mountain. Mountains are the visible and invisible source of energy. Whereas the main building of this temple is precisely located at the top and most backyard, is different from the concept of ancient stone buildings in general which places the front space as the center of all activities, similar to that found in Panataran, Blatar. In the far west of the Setha building complex, on a rather high plain, there is a sendong, or pool where the king's concubines and their maids bathe. The Setha building is closely related to Suku, which is relatively close to each other. Suku is located on the lower plains when compared to Setha. We already know that the source of the story that Plato got was the main source written in stone which was obtained from ancient priests in Egypt. Egyptian civilization was a civilization that developed and had the main source in the archipelago, namely the Lemurian civilization period. In the Atlantis era that developed in the land of the archipelago at the end of the Lemurian period, the story of Poseidon and Cletho is the story of the predecessors in the archipelago. The name Chetho is identical to Plato's version of Cletho. And in the depiction of the Chetho building it clearly describes the noble relationship between 2 types of humans, namely men and women as the source of life. Returning to the discussion of Atlantis and the source of its ancestors who later inhabited the archipelago as the traditional folk who were recorded and rewritten by Plato, as the nation of Atlantis. Nimrod, Enum. Ard, Hebrew. Modern Nimrod, Tiberian Nimrod. Aramaic. Arabic. Namrud, king of Shinar, according to the Book of Genesis and the Book of Chronicles, son of Cush and great-grandson of Noah. The first mention of Nimrod is in the Table of Nations. He is described as the son of Cush, grandson of Ham, and great-grandson of Noah, and as a mighty one on earth, and a mighty hunter before God. In the Hebrew and Christian traditions, Nimrod is considered the leader of those who built the Tower of Babel in the land of Shinar. According to Frank Joseph, the author of the book, The Atlantis Encyclopedia, 70, there are several similarities between the Adites and the Atlanteans, including 1. The Aad people are known for their city with high pillars. According to Plato, Atlanteans had a tradition of sacrificing animals in front of pillars. 2. The Aad had giant physiques similar to the description of the Atlanteans. 3. The Adites Aad are said to be the oldest inhabitants of Saudi Arabia. Atlantis as described by Plato was destroyed about 11,000 years ago. 4. The Adites Aad are often described as red-haired, and this is similar to the mythological descriptions of Atlantis in several places such as in Egypt, Ireland, Winnebago. 5. The Adites Aad had 10 kings who ruled several places around the world simultaneously. This is similar to the story of the 10 kings of Atlantis according to Plato's description in the Critias text. 6. The Adites arrived in Saudi Arabia after leaving the place of the Aad people who were devastated by a fierce wind from a black cloud. This may be similar to the Atlantis disaster. A very majestic capital has been punished by God for the wickedness of its inhabitants by the terrible flood. The story of Ad is recorded in the pre-Islamic tradition, and it is also mentioned in the Quran that God cursed the people for building high places for nothing. The Adites are said to have worshipped the sun by forming the top of the pyramid. This practice led more to the teachings and life of Atlantis. This area is also known as the City of Pillars, or Land of Bronze. Plato described them as the pillars of Atlantis, while their city was a very developed city before being destroyed. It is also said to be very advanced for the bronze trade in its time. In the Arabic tradition, the Adites are described as giants, Titanium Atlantis in Greek mythology, architects and superior builders who have been able to lift boulders. Unmatched even today, the rural tribes of Saudi Arabia regard ancient ruins of extraordinary size as buildings of the Adites, and regard their ancestors as Ad at a very early age. In the 19th century, the king of the Mussulman tribe kingdom was Shed Ad ben Ad, or descendant and son of Ad. The ancestor of the Arab nation was Ad, the grandson of the biblical Ham. The Adites are still considered to be the earliest inhabitants of Arabia. They are referred to as red men for their hair color. Some records of Atlantis, Egyptian, Irish, Winnebago, etc., describe Atlantis, at least in part, as a redhead. The Adites had 10 kings in different parts of the world simultaneously, the same number and disposition. Described by Plato in his Atlantean account, Critias. The Adites people arrived in the area after the former were wiped out by a very large black cloud with the ferocity of its storms. Several records of geological history are clearly recorded regarding the accompanying volcanic eruptions. Destruction of Atlantis. Ad is still the name of a Semitic tribe in Hadramaut province, Saudi Arabia, whose ancestors claimed descent from their ancestors as Noah's grandson. Ignatius Donnelly, an author of the book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, states several similarities between the Adites Aad and Atlanteans, among others. 1. Are the predecessors of a very old age. 2. Giant. 3. Likes to make large and tall buildings. 4. Likes to worship celestial objects such as the sun, stars, etc. 5. The word Adites is close to the word Adityas, which is a group of Indian gods, and this Adityas can be associated with the Titans, a group of Greek gods where one of them is Atlas, the first king of Atlantis. Generations of Noah's children. Shem, Ham, and Japhet, and they were the children born after the flood. Can we not assume that the 3 sons represent the 3 great races on earth? The Genesis account claims that the Phoenicians were descended from Ham, whereas the Hebrews were descended from Shem. We find Hebrew and Phoenician united by common linguistic ties, common traditions, and common racial characteristics. The Jews were world traders 18 centuries after Christ, just as Phoenicians were world merchants 15 centuries before Christ. In addition, Arabs, popularly classified as Semites, or sons of Shem, claim in their tradition that they are descended from Ad, son of Ham. Written in the 10th chapter of Genesis, they are among the descendants of Ham, calling them Seba, Hawilah, Rama, etc. If the 2 large are called Semitic stocks, Phoenicians and Arabs, Hamites, it must be members of the third of the group belonging to the same race. If the Jews also recognize a branch of the Hamitic racial roots, then we are referring to the Semitic race, which is Turanian, including Etruscans, Finnish, Tartars, Mongols, Chinese, and Japanese. Second, the Hamitic family, races, the Red race, including the Ethiopians, Phoenicians, Egyptians, Hebrews, Berbers. Third, Japhetic descent with whiter skin, including Greeks, Italians, Celts, Goths, and those who wrote Sanskrit other words, the entire Aryan family.